A 10-year-old girl is chosen to be the final hope of the British royal family. But is Charlotte truly ready, or is she merely a pawn in the power games of adults? King Charles, gravely ill, fears his legacy fading. Camilla anxious about losing her influence. Catherine torn between motherhood and her role as a princess. William suspecting his own father is manipulating his daughter. Each harbors their own motives, their own agendas, yet all eyes are on a young girl with innocent eyes thrust into the spotlight of fame and pressure. When the media begins to question, is the royal family exploiting a child? An unexpected live interview airs and all attention turns to Charlotte. But what is the truth and what is a carefully orchestrated act? The answer might make you see the royal family in an entirely new light. In a secluded room at Buckingham Palace, the soft golden glow of an antique chandelier bathes the crimson velvet walls. The air is heavy, laced with the faint scent of antiseptic and unspoken tension. King Charles III, though weakened by illness, sits upright in a leather-clad chair, his piercing eyes scanning the faces of his most trusted advisors, those who have sworn loyalty to the throne across generations. "We need a signal," Charles says, his voice low, but commanding, as if illness could not strip away his resolve. A signal that the monarchy remains strong, enduring. He pauses, taking a deep breath, then continues. "I want Charlotte to take on the role of junior patron ambassador at Wimbledon this year." Silence engulfs the room. The advisors exchange cautious glances. Charlotte, only 10 years old, is the hope of a new generation, but also the focal point of unspoken schemes. One advisor, Edward Langley, with silver hair and a perpetually measured tone, speaks up. "Your Majesty, is this not too soon? Princess Charlotte is still a child." Charles smiles, a weary yet cunning expression. "Indeed a child, but also my granddaughter, royal blood. If we do not shape the future, others will do it for us." In the corner, Queen Camilla sits silently, her hands clasped tightly over her deep blue silk dress. She says nothing, but her icy gaze speaks volumes. Charles's decision is not just strategic. It draws an invisible line, pitting her against Catherine, Charlotte's mother, and the new generation of royals. Camilla knows that her symbolic power, painstakingly built as queen consort, is at risk of slipping away. That night in her private chambers at Clarence House, Camilla sits alone before her vanity, staring into the mirror. She knows Charles isn't just giving Charlotte a title, he's sending a message. Her era, the old guard, is fading. Camilla's no fool. She's seen how the royal family operates, how smiles in public conceal daggers behind backs. She picks up the phone, calling a trusted friend in the media. "Keep an eye on Charlotte," she says, her voice steady but laced with intent. "She's a new star, but perhaps too young to shine." The call ends and Camilla wonders if she's gone too far. But in the royal world, there's no room for hesitation. If Charlotte becomes the new symbol, Camilla's position and her legacy are at stake. The dim glow of a bedside lamp illuminates Catherine, Princess of Wales, as she sits by Charlotte's bed watching her daughter sleep. Charlotte's blonde hair spills across the pillow, her face serene, untouched by the thousands of eyes that watched her at Wimbledon today. But Catherine cannot sleep. A storm of emotions swirls within her, pride mixed with worry, trust tangled with doubt. She stands gently, closing Charlotte's door, and walks to her study. A letter from Buckingham Palace lies on the desk, Charles's handwriting sharp and clear. "Charlotte is the future. Let her shine." The words, though warm, send a chill down Catherine's spine. As a mother, she wants to believe it's a grandfather's love for his granddaughter. But as a princess, seasoned by over a decade in the royal spotlight's harsh glare, she cannot shake the feeling that this is a political move. Catherine sits clutching a cold cup of tea. Her health, still fragile after months battling illness, has left her body weak, but her mind sharper than ever. She recalls Charles's gaze at their last meeting, tired yet resolute, as if racing against time. Is he using Charlotte to distract from the rumors? She wonders, her fingers tracing the cup's rim. Whispers about Charles's health have crept into the press, though the palace denies them. A 10-year-old girl with an innocent smile and royal blood would be the perfect shield to hide the truth. The next morning, Catherine stands before a mirror, adjusting her emerald silk dress, a color she knows will soften the media's scrutiny. Today, she and Charlotte will face a small press conference to address questions after Charlotte's striking Wimbledon debut. Catherine has rehearsed every answer, every gesture with her daughter, but deep down a gnawing fear persists. What am I doing, she asks herself, staring at her reflection. Pushing her into the spotlight or protecting her from it? When Charlotte enters dressed in a pristine white dress, Catherine kneels grasping her daughter's shoulders. Sweetheart, there'll be lots of questions about Wimbledon today. Just answer like we practiced. Okay, Charlotte nods, but her eyes betray a flicker of worry. Mummy, what if they ask about Grandpa? I heard kids at school say he's sick. Catherine freezes. She hadn't expected Charlotte to overhear those whispers. Forcing a smile, she hides her pain. Grandpa's fine, love. He just wants you to help him do something special to show everyone how wonderful our family is. But as she speaks, Catherine feels she's lying to herself. She's not sure Charles is as healthy as she claims, nor if he's placing Charlotte in a game she doesn't fully understand. At the press conference, Catherine sits beside Charlotte, her hand lightly on her daughter's back, a silent gesture of support. The reporters, with friendly smiles but razor-sharp eyes, fire questions. Princess Charlotte. How does it feel to be the junior patron ambassador? One asks, cameras flashing relentlessly. With practiced confidence, Charlotte replies, I love being at Wimbledon. I like watching tennis, and I hope I made everyone proud. The crowd smiles, a few clapping. Catherine exhales, but only briefly. Another reporter, sharper, cuts in. Your Highness is Princess Charlotte's role, a way to divert attention from the king's health. The question is a dagger. Catherine feels her face flush, but her composure remains flawless. The king is immensely proud of Charlotte and wants her to contribute to meaningful events like Wimbledon. She says, her voice steady but cutting. This is an opportunity for the younger generation to learn and grow. Yet inside the question stokes doubts she's tried to bury. That night at Anmer Hall, Catherine sits across from William in the living room, the firelight casting shadows on his tense face. Kate, I don't like this, William says, his voice low. Charlotte did wonderfully, but I can't shake the feeling that my father's using her. A 10-year-old shouldn't be thrust into the spotlight like this. Catherine nods, her heart tightening. I feel it too, Will. But if we resist, are we defying your father's wishes? And if we agree, are we pushing Charlotte into a dangerous game? Her voice trembles. I just want her to be a normal child, at least for a few more years. William takes her hand, his gaze resolute. We'll protect her, no matter who we have to face, even my father. Afternoon sunlight glints off the lush green fields around Anmer Hall, where Charlotte sits on an old swing in the garden. She sways gently, her small feet brushing the ground, but her eyes are distant, as if her mind is elsewhere. Just days after her Wimbledon appearance, the world has shifted for the 10-year-old. Major newspapers call her the monarchy's new spark, the Princess of Hope. But to Charlotte, those accolades feel like an oversized gown, beautiful yet heavy, suffocating her. In the cozy living room, Catherine watches her daughter through the window, her heart aching. She notices Charlotte no longer laughs as freely. Instead, she sits quietly clutching her favorite teddy bear, asking questions that pierce Catherine's heart. Mummy, why does everyone stare at me? Or do I have to do this forever? Today, Charlotte has refused to play with George and Louis, her brothers whose laughter echoes as they romp in the garden. Instead, she sits alone as if trying to grasp the changes in her life. Catherine steps outside, her silk dress fluttering in the breeze. She sits beside Charlotte, resting a hand on her shoulder. What's on your mind, sweetheart? She asks softly like a gentle breeze. Charlotte looks up, her clear eyes tinged with sadness. Mummy, I liked Wimbledon. I liked giving the trophy and hearing people clap. But I don't know, it feels like I have to do something big, and I don't understand what it is. She pauses, her small hands gripping the swing's ropes. I just want to play with George and Louis, but everyone says I'm something important. Catherine feels her heart being crushed. She pulls Charlotte into a hug, fighting back tears. You're the most important thing to me and Daddy, not because you're a princess, but because you're our Charlotte. But deep down, Catherine knows this is only half the truth. The royal family is never just a family, it's a symbol, a machine. And Charlotte, at just 10, has been swept into its gears. The next day, an official photo shoot is held at Kensington Palace to mark Charlotte's new role. She stands before a deep green backdrop, wearing a pristine white dress, her hands clasped to hide their trembling. The photographer, a middle-aged man with a friendly smile, instructs her, "Princess, chin up a bit. Smile more naturally." But to Charlotte, the smile feels forced. Each camera flash reminds her that the world is watching, judging, expecting. Catherine stands in the corner, observing with a sharp gaze. She notices Charlotte trying to please everyone, but her small shoulders begin to tremble after each flash. When the shoot ends, Charlotte runs to her mother, hugging her tightly. "I don't want to do this anymore," she whispers, her voice breaking. "I just want to go home." Catherine holds her daughter, a wave of helplessness crashing over her. She wants to scream at the world to shield Charlotte from prying eyes and sensational headlines, but she knows there's no easy escape in the royal world. "You did so well," she whispers, stroking Charlotte's hair. "I promise I'll be here with you no matter what." Meanwhile, at Buckingham Palace, Charles's advisors are busy analyzing public reactions. A report lands on his desk boasting impressive figures. 85% of social media posts praise Charlotte, and international articles hail her as the symbol of a new dynasty. Charles, though, weakens smiles as he reads. "She did it," he says to Edward Langley, his voice filled with pride. "She's our hope." But Edward, ever cautious, speaks up. "Your Majesty, the public adores Princess Charlotte, but some are questioning if this role is too heavy for a child." Charles waves off the concern. "She's my granddaughter. She carries my blood. Charlotte will learn to be strong, as we all have." That night at Anmer Hall, Charlotte lies in bed clutching her teddy bear. She recalls the moment at Wimbledon when the crowd cheered her name. It felt like being part of something grand, but now in her quiet room she feels only loneliness. "Did I do something wrong?" she whispers to herself. She remembers carefree days running in the garden, free from flashes and expectations. William enters, sitting on her bedside. "Not asleep yet, my little princess?" he asks warmly. Charlotte shakes her head, her eyes glistening. "Daddy, do I have to be a princess forever? I just want to be like George and Louis, not important." William's heart aches. He pulls Charlotte into his arms. "You don't have to be anyone but yourself," he says, but he knows it's a promise hard to keep. He thinks of his father, Charles's plans, and a quiet anger simmers. What is he doing to her, he wonders, resolved to uncover the truth. In a small room at Clarence House, flickering candlelight casts shadows on ancient portraits, as if past monarchs are watching. Queen Camilla sits across from Princess Anne, the royal family's two most powerful women, but the air between them is as cold as a London winter. On the table sits a cold teacup and a file on Charlotte's public schedule, marked with red lines events Camilla wants canceled. "Anne, you must agree with me." Camilla begins, her voice steady but resolute. "Charlotte is too young. Pushing her into the public eye like this constantly is unfair. We need to reduce her appearances at least until she's older." Anne, with her steely demeanor and sharp gaze, sips her tea before responding. "Camilla, you know this isn't just about age. Charlotte isn't just a child. She's a symbol of the monarchy's future. Charles sees it, and so do I." She sets her cup down, her eyes fixed on Camilla. "I watched my mother, Queen Elizabeth, bear the weight of a kingdom from a young age. Charlotte has that strength in her blood. We can't shelter her forever." Camilla's nails dig into her palms. She rarely shows emotion, but Anne's words sting her pride. "Anne, you talk of the future, but who will preserve the present? If we let Charlotte take center stage, it overshadows everything we've built. I don't want the monarchy to become a stage for a child's performance." Anne raises an eyebrow, a faint smile flickering. "Camilla, are you afraid of being overshadowed? The monarchy doesn't belong to any one person. It's a legacy, and Charlotte is part of it. If you try to hold her back, you'll weaken us all." The conversation ends without agreement. Camilla stands smoothing her silk jacket, her gaze icy. "I'll speak to Charles," she says, her voice low but determined. "The girl needs time, and I'll ensure it." Anne says nothing, watching Camilla leave. In her mind, a decision forms. Charlotte needs a guide, and if Camilla won't stand with her, Anne will. 2 days later at Kensington Palace, Charlotte sits in a classroom, an open book on royal history before her. But she's distracted, her eyes drifting to the window, where sunlight filters through the trees. Princess Anne, invited by Catherine to talk with Charlotte, enters with her commanding stride but gentle eyes. "Charlotte, what's on your mind?" Anne asks, sitting across from her. She recognizes the worry on the girl's face, a worry she once saw on her mother, Queen Elizabeth, years ago. Charlotte hesitates, then whispers, Anne, I don't know if I'm doing it right. Everyone says I'm important, but I just want to play with my friends. I'm scared of doing something wrong. Anne smiles, resting a hand on Charlotte's shoulder. You know I saw my mother, your great-grandmother, worry like this when she was young. But she learned to be strong, and you will too. The monarchy isn't a burden, Charlotte. It's an honor. And I'll be here guiding you every step. Charlotte's eyes brighten slightly. You'll help me, really, like a teacher. Anne laughs, a rare warm sound. Not quite a teacher, but a friend. But you must promise me one thing, always be yourself, no matter who's watching. Anne's words are like a cool breeze, soothing Charlotte's small heart. The girl nods, feeling as if she's found an anchor in the storm of duty. At Clarence's house, Camilla stands before Charles's desk, her voice restrained but tense. Charles, I know you want Charlotte to be a symbol, but she's only 10. If we keep pushing her into the public eye, we'll destroy her childhood. I suggest cutting back her schedule, at least for a few months. Charles, seated in his large armchair, looks at Camilla with weary but unyielding eyes. Camilla, don't you see the monarchy is at a crossroads? The public needs hope, a future. Charlotte is that future. If we hide her, we lose their trust. Camilla's hands clench, her voice low but sharp. And if we lose Charlotte, Charles, a child can't carry a kingdom. You're putting her in danger, and you know it. Charles falls silent, his gaze drifting to a framed photo on his desk, a picture of him and Charlotte from years ago, her smile carefree. I don't want to hurt her, he says, his voice heavy with sorrow. But I don't have much time, Camilla. I need to leave a legacy. Camilla leaves her heart heavy. She knows Charles is consumed by his legacy, but she also knows she can't let Charlotte or Catherine steal the spotlight she's worked so hard to claim. A new plan forms in her mind, not to oppose Charlotte, but to control how she appears, ensuring Camilla remains central. Meanwhile, at Anmer Hall, Catherine receives a message from Anne. I've spoken to Charlotte. She's stronger than we think. Let me help her, Kate. Catherine reads it, a spark of hope igniting. Anne, with her experience and resolve, is an unexpected ally. But with Camilla on the other side, Catherine knows the silent war within the royal family is deepening, splitting into two camps. Camilla's traditional guard and Anne's push for reform with Charlotte, caught in the crossfire. In her bedroom, Charlotte clutches her teddy bear, replaying Anne's words. Be yourself, she murmurs, as if it's a talisman. But deep down, she senses that despite Anne and her mother's protection, the path ahead will be far from easy. Prince William sits in his study at Anmer Hall, the desk lamp casting light on his tense features. Before him lies a slim file sent from a discreet source at Clarence's house. Charles's handwritten notes faint on the page, cut like knives into William's trust. The file reveals a bold plan Charles intends to permanently assign Charlotte symbolic patronage roles in charity culture, and even sports like Wimbledon, without consulting William, the heir to the throne. William's fists clench, his eyes burning with anger and pain. What is he thinking? He mutters, his voice low but seething. As a father, he's proud of Charlotte's radiance at Wimbledon, her innocent smile lighting up the national stage. But as a son, he feels betrayed. Is Charles acting as a loving grandfather, passing a legacy to his granddaughter? Or is he using Charlotte to control the monarchy's image, hiding his worsening health? William began investigating weeks ago after suspicions arose post-Wimbledon. He contacted trusted advisors from Queen Elizabeth's era still loyal to him. One, a former palace secretary named James Harrow, sent the file with a note. Your Highness, you deserve to know the truth. His Majesty means well, but you should see this plan. William rereads the file, each line deepening his doubts. Charles isn't just positioning Charlotte as a current symbol, but shaping her as a future pillar, bypassing William. It feels like a theft of his role as a father, his right to shield his daughter from pressures he's endured. Catherine enters, her eyes concerned as she sees her husband lost in thought. Will, are you okay? She asks, resting a hand on his shoulder. She notices the deeper lines on his face. William hands her the file, his voice heavy. Kate read this. My father planned this behind our backs. He wants Charlotte to be the monarchy's centerpiece, not just now, but forever. He didn't even ask me. Catherine scans the file, her heart sinking. She understands the implications. Charles is not only placing expectations on Charlotte, but sidelining William, who should bridge the monarchy's present and future. Well, maybe he's just protecting his legacy, she says hesitantly. He knows his time is limited. William stands abruptly, his voice trembling with anger. Protecting his legacy or controlling it? Kate, he's using her Charlotte's 10. She can't carry a kingdom, and he's doing it behind my back as if I'm not capable of leading the monarchy. Catherine takes his hand, trying to soothe him. Well, I understand you feel betrayed, but Charles is your father, Charlotte's grandfather. Maybe he thinks this is the best way to ensure the monarchy endures. Yet even as she speaks, Catherine's heart is torn. As a mother, she wants to shield Charlotte from pressure. As a princess, she knows defying Charles could have unforeseen consequences. That afternoon, William requests a private meeting with his father at Clarence House. In a study lined with ancient books and portraits, Charles sits behind his desk, his face pale but eyes sharp. The air between father and son is taut like a string about to snap. Father William begins, his voice firm but respectful. I've seen the file. You plan to give Charlotte permanent patronage roles without consulting me? Why? Charles meets his son's gaze, his eyes weary but unyielding. William, do you think I'm doing this for personal gain? I'm doing it for the monarchy. The public needs a new symbol untainted by past controversies. Charlotte is that light. William shakes his head, his voice cold. Charlotte is my daughter, father. She's not a tool to polish the monarchy's image. Do you think I can't lead this kingdom, or do you not trust me? William's words cut deep. Charles falls silent, his hands trembling slightly. I trust you, William, he says, his voice heavy with sorrow. But I don't have much time. I need to ensure the monarchy remains strong even after I'm gone. Charlotte has that strength, my son. She can do it. William clenches his fist, feeling betrayed. You're not just bypassing me, you're putting Charlotte in danger. If you want a legacy, build it without turning my daughter into a pawn. He turns and leaves, leaving Charles in painful silence. A week later, a media storm erupts when The Guardian publishes a shocking headline: Is the British monarchy exploiting child labor? Princess Charlotte under pressure too soon. The article, citing an anonymous source from Clarence House, alleges that Charlotte's junior patron ambassador role is a royal ploy to polish its image, disregarding the pressure on a 10-year-old. Social media splits. Some defend Charlotte, praising her poise. Others demand accountability, calling it irresponsible and exploitative. In Clarence House's elegant sitting room, Camilla sits alone, a glass of red wine in hand, her gaze cold but tinged with unease. She knows she's played a bold move, leaking the story through a trusted contact. It was risky, but Camilla felt cornered. No one in the palace supports her. Charles is obsessed with his legacy. Anne backs Charlotte, and Catherine and William are strengthening their position. If I don't act, I'll be sidelined, she murmurs, staring out at the rain-drenched London skyline. But Camilla didn't anticipate the backlash's intensity. Advisors scramble, phones ringing as they try to control the narrative with major outlets. Edward Langley rushes into a meeting, sweat beading on his brow. Your Majesty, it's spiraling out of control, he says urgently. The public demands an explanation. We need to act now. Charles, in his large armchair, pale but resolute, nods slowly. Prepare a live conversation, he orders. Just me and Charlotte. No one else. The public needs the truth, not rumors. That evening, a video is broadcast live on the royal family's official channels. In a cozy Buckingham Palace room, Charles sits in an armchair, Charlotte beside him in a simple pale blue dress, her hands clasped but her eyes bright. The cameras capture every moment, from Charles's gentle smile to the reassuring hand he places on his granddaughter's. Charlotte, do you know why I wanted you here? Charles begins, his voice warm yet emotional. I don't need you to be a queen. I don't need you to carry the world. I just need you to be the light that keeps people believing in this monarchy. Charlotte looks at her grandfather, her eyes shining with sincerity. I understand, Grandpa, she says softly but clearly. I want to help you help everyone. I'm not scared. Charles smiles, his eyes glistening with emotion. I know you're strong, Charlotte, but I promise you this: you'll only do what you want. No one will force you, not even me. If you want to stop, just tell me. Okay, Charlotte. Nods, a radiant smile breaking through. I promise to do my best, Grandpa. I want everyone to see how wonderful our family is. That moment, an earnest exchange between grandfather and granddaughter touches millions. On social media, criticism gives way to empathy and admiration. She's so lovely, one user writes. The king isn't forcing her, he's guiding her. The monarchy's image, once shaky, is suddenly fortified. At Anmer Hall, Catherine and William watch the broadcast. Catherine grips William's hand, tears rolling down her cheeks. We'll look at her. Charlotte's stronger than we thought, she whispers. But I'm still scared. Scared she'll pay a price for this. William holds his wife, his eyes still wary. My father did the right thing this time, he says quietly. But I won't let her be pulled into this game again. I'll watch him, Kate, I promise. At Clarence's house, Camilla watches the broadcast, her face expressionless. Her move backfired. Instead of undermining Charlotte, she gave Charles a platform to strengthen the monarchy's image. She sets her glass down, her gaze cold. I underestimated him, she murmurs. But deep down she knows the battle isn't over. She'll find another subtler way to protect her place. A year later at Wimbledon, sunlight bathes the green courts. Charlotte, now 11, steps onto the stage with newfound confidence. No longer trembling, no longer fearing the flashes or prying eyes. Her pale blue dress is replaced by a sleek white one, her hair tied high, revealing a radiant face. As she hands the trophy to the winner, the crowd roars, but this time Charlotte feels no pressure. She smiles not because she was trained to, but because she wants to. Catherine and William stand backstage, their eyes brimming with pride. She's grown, Catherine whispers, squeezing William's hand. William nods, his gaze on Charles, seated in the royal box with a satisfied smile. She's herself, William says firmly, and we'll make sure it stays that way. Charlotte, once fearful of the spotlight, now stands tall like a resilient sapling, nurtured by those who love her. The British monarchy under her small hands is transforming into a modern open symbol of hope for the future. Like, share, and subscribe to follow Charlotte's emotional journey and the storms within the British royal family.